When I hear my 10-year-old daughter tell her friend that her favorite song is called Sex Has Come Between Us by Vitamin C, I am painfully aware that the window for talking to her about sex is rapidly approaching. I'm just not sure I'm ready for it. Luckily, one of the top parenting experts and psychotherapists, Alyson Schaefer, came by my studio in California today, and I was able to ask her some very difficult questions. You're definitely going to want to hear what she told me.
Sex! This is like the worst thing. Parents do not want to talk to their kids about sex. And what's great is, given the age of your kids, it's actually the perfect time to talk about like the good, juicy sex topics because it's crazy at this point. It's like, Mom, you can have these conversations because they're non-threatening. So I think it's better. It doesn't mean you're encouraging your kids to have sex, but you're now lowering the tension because we're just, because someday, somewhere, right, someone's gonna, and that somehow makes it a doable conversation.
That's a really big concept to get over, though, when you're looking at your 10-year-old, who my 10-year-old tends to know a lot of stuff because she's read it and we've talked to her about it. But take me ahead a few years, and where does this go?
So sex is not a one-time conversation. It is like a layering of...
Damn, I thought I could just get it over with.
Yes. Done, we had the talk, right? We had the talk.
Can I check that off my list?
Sadly, no. So the question is, everything becomes food for thought. Something in the newspaper can be something where you say, hey, did you hear that, kids are now, giving blowjobs in the hallway at high schools? Is that going on at your school? I mean, are other people doing it? I was very conscious of making sure that my kids knew that there was the sexuality part, but I really also wanted them to know the health part. And so that meant that, I have a jar of condoms then. They're in the bathroom, and I never want it to be that they are not accessible. You can share them with your friends. Tell them that I will be the supplier, that, you can't say I didn't have one, they were too expensive, I was too embarrassed to get one from the drugstore. There's always condoms. And of course they laughed and giggled and almost bragged about having these condoms in the house. But you know what's interesting? They started to disappear at a certain point, and I do keep replenishing them. And so I know that it's been effective. It's done what it needs to do. It's keeping kids safe.
And is it more like I'd rather know everything that's going on? Or is there a sort of boundary line that you still have with your kids?
So I so love that I have open communication with my kids, and I don't want to do anything to jeopardize them willing to come to me to talk about sex or anything else. I want them to feel that I'm a safe person to talk to. At the same time, that does not mean that it's going to be okay to go parade your sexual behaviors around in front of me. That we still have to have this idea of limits and roles. And I'm your mom, and well, I want you to talk to me about your sexual life. I don't want to hear your sexual life. So let's respect that we're going to share a house, and you have to kind of play the game where you still hide that from me, because it's still hard to accept that your young baby is a sexual being. So yes, I want you to talk, but no, you need to play the game.
So I'm listening to all this and I love it, but I'm wondering, when you talk to your clients or you speak in front of large audiences, do people just sit back in shock, or how do they accept this? Are they ready to put their jar of condoms in the bathroom for their daughters?
Okay. No, not everybody does. There's for sure a range of people, and there is a range of attitudes about sexuality. And so for sure, some of this is going to kind of shock people. What they like to hear, however, is that we're talking about education and appropriate roles, limits, and boundaries. And that's what parents have a hard time with. What's right, what's wrong, what's too far, what's not enough. And so when they understand that what we're doing is we're educating and keeping our kids safe, but we're appreciating the fact that they are developing a sexual identity, whether we like it or not. So let's pick the role that's going to be the most supportive so that they can develop a healthy sexual attitude about themselves, so that they conduct themselves sexually in a way that is mentally healthy, enjoyable, and safe, frankly, safe.
Wow, okay, I love it. I got to go home and think about it and see what, as you said, what my boundaries are and what my comfort level is, because I think what I'm hearing you say is find what it is. Don't pretend to be too much more or too much less than what your own personal approach is, and then find a way to just keep the communication open, but not too much. Still have boundaries, but don't set up walls, and make sure that things like
going to not fool anybody by trying to act like you're liberal when
Right.
you're not. Let's put it that way. Your kids
Right.
will call your bluff.
Yeah.
So I think it's totally fair to say, I find this really uncomfortable.
Right.
I didn't have anyone to talk to. I'm not very well practiced at this myself, but I'd
Okay.
like to do better than my own experience, or I have a desire to try to do this as best as I can for you guys. So help me while I muddle through this.
Okay.
That's
I love that.
Soothes the way for everybody.
Okay, that's how I'm going to start. After that, I'm not sure what I'm going to say.
Good luck.
Okay. So thank you once again to Alyson Schaefer for giving me some insight and guidance on a very tricky topic, but one that we all have to deal with. Until next time, we'll see you again.